think, yeah, it's 11 and we'll start. Okay. So, good morning, Jai Jinendra, everyone. Sandeep, can you play Navkar Mantra?
नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सीताणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वच्छायाणं नमो लोये सव्वसाहूणं नमो लोये सव्वसाहूणं एसो पञ्चनमुक्कारो एसो पञ्चनमुक्कारो सौवपावपणासनो सौवपावपणासनो मङ्गलाणं च संवेसिं मङ्गलाणं च संवेसिं परमं हवै मङ्गलम् परमं हवै मङ्गलम्।
जय जिनेंद्र एवरीवन, आप सभी को साल 2023 की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आशा करती हूँ कि ये साल हम सबके लिए हार्मोनियस रहे। 2023 के पहले सेशन में आप सभी का स्वागत है और आज का हमारा विषय है, जैसा आप जानते हैं, प्लानिंग जीरो वेस्ट इवेंट्स। इवेंट्स चाहे सोशल हो, रिलीजियस हो, प्रोफेशनल हो, दे आर एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ सोशल फैब्रिक। हेल्थी सोसाइटी के लिए बहुत जरूरी है और हम सब ने कोविड में देखा कि हमने कितना मिस किया इवेंट्स को। एंड आज के समय में देखा जाए तो नंबर ऑफ इवेंट्स आर कंटिन्यूअसली इंक्रीजिंग, चाहे बर्थडे पार्टीज हो या एनिवर्सरीज हो या वेडिंग रिलेटेड इवेंट्स हो। सो जहाँ ये इवेंट्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, उसके साथ में जो इवेंट्स का पूरा इकोसिस्टम है वो भी बढ़ता जा रहा है। सिर्फ अगले 3 महीनों में, एक्चुअली दिसंबर से लेके फरवरी तक में भारत में करीबन 35 लाख शादियां होगी और उनका जो खर्चा होगा दैट इज इक्वलेंट टू, वो खर्चा है 3,75,000 करोड़। 3 करोड़ नहीं, 3,75,000 करोड़। ओके। और एक खर्चा, उतना खर्चा है जितना हमारा रेलवे 3 साल में स्पेंड करता है, तो उतना सिर्फ 3 महीनों की शादियों में भारत में खर्चा होगा। बट जैसा कि मैंने बताया, इवेंट्स जरूरी है तो शायद उसके रिलेटेड स्पेंस भी जरूरी है। बट उसका जो दूसरा इम्पैक्ट है वो पूरा इकोलॉजी पर है। विथ इंक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ इवेंट्स वी आर ऑल्सो क्रिएटिंग अ ह्यूज इम्पैक्ट ऑन इकोलॉजी। सिर्फ एक वेडिंग के इवेंट्स में द अमाउंट ऑफ वेस्ट दैट वी क्रिएट कुड बी इक्वलेंट टू 300 टन्स। और मैं मानती हूँ कि आदमी अपने जीवन काल में जितना खर्चा नहीं करता है, एट टाइम्स वो जो वेडिंग रिलेटेड इवेंट्स जो 2 या 3 दिन के होते हैं उसमें उतना ज्यादा खर्चा तो छोड़ो, बट उतना वेस्ट भी साथ में क्रिएट करता है, दैट मच वेस्ट दैट ही मे नॉट हैव क्रिएटेड ड्यूरिंग हिज लाइफ टाइम। ओके, सो हाउ डू वी मैनेज दिस? आर देयर ऑप्शंस? सो दिस इज एक ऐसा टॉपिक है जो हमारे दिमाग में काफी समय से चल रहा था। We have been wanting to do this topic for a long time, but we were looking for speakers who are not just going to preach. वो सिर्फ आके बात ही नहीं करेंगे कि theoretically कैसे किया जाए, but we were looking for people जिन्होंने खुद किया है। So आज हमारे साथ में ऐसे स्पीकर हैं जिन्होंने सिर्फ अपनी ही वेडिंग जीरो वेस्ट प्लान नहीं की, बट ये उनका अभी एक प्रोफेशन भी बन गया है। So they are helping people organize zero waste events. So I think it's extremely important, given that there is so much associated with the wedding. Yeah, any events le lo, starting say invitation, shopping, से लेके the entire food, decor, उसके बाद में गिफ्ट, रिटर्न गिफ्ट्स, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, इतना सब कुछ होता है एक इवेंट्स के रिलेटेड। सो यदि वो सब कुछ हमें इस तरीके से प्लान करना है कि इम्पैक्ट ऑन एनवायरनमेंट, इम्पैक्ट ऑन अदर लिविंग बीइंग्स, चाहे वो एक इंद्रिय जीव हो या पंचेंद्रिय जीव हो, कम से कम हो, और बेइंद्रिय से पंचेंद्रिय जीवों पर तो हो ही नहीं, तो हम कैसे कर सके, इस टॉपिक की चर्चा करेंगे हम इस साल के पहले सेशन पे। हम चाहते थे कि हमारा पहला सेशन बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक पे हो, so that's where we selected this topic. So with this, now I would request Dr. Bipin Doshi to say a few words, and then we'll move further in the session.
Thank you, Sangeeta. I don't think I want to waste any time. But
nice.
both the most important part of our talk is कि खर्चा तो हम करते हैं शादी में. So you know, as an economist, one can say it's a transfer of wealth. एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाता है, तो खर्चा तो नहीं है. But at the same time, what you rightly mentioned is कि भाई हम जब भी transfer of wealth करते हैं, तो how much wealth is wasted, and that's what going to be the important part of this talk. कि भाई हम जब भी कोई भी इवेंट करते हैं तो कितना वेस्ट होता है. That's something which we have to cut down as much as we can. So welcome to the speakers. I'm going to enjoy this session. Thank you, Sangeeta.
Thank you, sir. With this, now I would invite Dimple to introduce our speakers for today.
Yes, thanks a lot, Sangeeta. Thanks a lot, sir. I think it's a pleasure to host both of you today. ये topic हमारे दिमाग में काफी time से था, and that's when we came across, we read about how you guys have conducted your own wedding in an eco-friendly manner and then started Green Maina. तो उसके basis पे हमने you know, we were very excited to have you here today. Just a very quick introduction of Ashwin and Nupur. Ashwin is essentially he's in the merchant navy. He spent almost 2 decades in the high seas, and I guess he's an ocean advocate, in love with seas, but he's seen the sea transform in front of his own eyes, right? जब वो 17 साल के थे, उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया था मर्चेंट नेवी, और तभी के ब्लू सीज और आज के you know, polluted seas में काफी फर्क है, और that's what inspired him to start, you know, taking up beach cleanup drives and, you know, do something with respect to the environment. That's where he met his better half, you know, the Nupur, the wife of Green Maina, as she calls herself. And, you know, she kind of, you know, she's been equally passionate about beach cleanups, about cleaning the ocean. She's come to Bombay for last 7 years for work. And, you know, that beach was one place where she, you know, she used to go to absorb the cultural shocks between the previous life and life at Bombay, right? And that's where she was pained to see the kind of pollution out there on the beaches. And as destiny had it, you know, that's where they both met. And I guess along with that was also born Green Maina, their venture, which is, you know, helping a lot of more couples go in for eco weddings and, you know, kind of really help Mother Earth in a big way. So welcome Ashwin and Nupur to the show. We're very, very excited to hear from you. So over to you now.
Thank you so much. We are very, very happy to be part of this. And बहुत अच्छे खुशी हो रही है कि हम लोग अपने पहले संडे की शुरुआत इतने अच्छे सोच के साथ कर रहे हैं. तो आपने हमारे बारे में बताया, हमारे इस कॉल पे शाहानू और महनाज भी है, वो हमारी टीम से है. तो while Ashwin and I started this, पर शाहानू महनाज, you know, हम लोग 4 जन मिलके सब कुछ सोचते हैं, करते हैं एंड आगे बढ़ते हैं. दोनों बहुत यंग गर्ल्स हैं एंड एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में सोचते हैं हमारे साथ. तो यही हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि हम लोग आगे बढ़े. और फॉर अस ग्रीन माइना इज नॉट like about bread and butter, but it is about really spreading the message and really going out there and telling people कि लगता है कि एक इवेंट से कितना वेस्ट होगा, बट एक इवेंट से, जैसे संगीता जी ने स्टार्टिंग में बताया कि कितने इवेंट्स होते हैं, और अगर हर एक इवेंट इको फ्रेंडली हो तो कितना डिफरेंस बन सकता है. तो लाइक शी सेड, अगर पूरे साल में तुम जितना नहीं करते हो क्रिएट, एक इवेंट के थ्रू कर सकते हो. So before I think we can proceed, we would like to play a small video that will kind of जो भी डिम्पल जी ने, संगीता जी ने बताया, थोड़ा उसको corroborate करेगा. So before much ado, let's share our screen and share our video. And today's conversation, I think for the next 25-30 minutes, we will focus on planning or telling our experience of how sustainable events can be done. आई होप सब कोई हमारा स्क्रीन देख पा रहे हैं, हमने स्क्रीन शेयर की है। तो कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो, कुछ भी हो आपके पास, तो आप प्लीज चैट बॉक्स पे डालें। हमारी टीम इज देयर to be able to answer, or we'll get back to you for sure on that.
Yeah, I think we'll have a small Q&A post our talk, so then we can start from there. But yeah, just play the video, and it's about 3.5 minutes, and post that we'll start with our presentation and how we started our journey.
Just one second. ऑडियो आ रहा है कि नहीं, आप प्लीज बताइएगा when we play this.
We are seeing your PowerPoint screen as of now.
We are sharing the, just one second, we are sharing a YouTube link. Is it
No,
visible?
that's not visible. No.
Just one second. Yeah. Is this visible now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you all of you hear it?
Audio, no.
No.
You may have to reshare it with that option of audio, sync audio or something. When you're sharing it, there'll be an option. Sandeep or Kavita ji, do you want to just help?
There's a checkbox, right?
Yeah, can you see it now?
I think our mantra is just to go back to our
Yes.
roots.
Yes. Now it is perfect.
The idea is that all weddings are or naturally were green, and I think our mantra is just to go back to our roots, because whenever we get stuck with any idea, we just think how it would have been done, say, a few years back. When you open the albums of your parents, you will never find anything plastic in it.
Planting one tree per guest using no single-use plastic. Ashwin and Nupur ditched a big fat wedding for a sustainable one. Today, they help other couples bond in holy matrimony, both with each other as well as the environment, through their brand, Green Miner. Ashwin and Nupur's wedding was the most green wedding that any of their relatives had ever seen. Even though the couple came from two different professional backgrounds, they had agreed on one point: sustainability. Having met at a beach cleanup on Mumbai's Warsaw Beach, they literally bonded over trash. So when they decided to get married, they knew it would be in an eco-friendly way. While the groom's barat arrived in an electric car, the bride wore her mom's sari as a lehenga. All the leftover food was distributed amongst the less privileged to ensure zero food wastage. All the guests took home gifts wrapped in locally sourced paper bags. After the celebrations ended, Ashwin and Nupur were bombarded with questions and tips to hold green weddings, and to address them all, they launched Green Miner in 2020.
Nupur and I started Green Miner in September 2020. We knew we wanted to bring about a change in mindset of the people. Passion project than anything else when Green Miner started off.
Through efficient waste management and mindful decor ideas, Green Miner has diverted over 25,000 kg of waste that would otherwise go to a landfill. When asked about their most memorable project to date, they talk about a wedding where they placed a compost bin at the wedding venue.
Our most memorable wedding, I think I would easily pick up the Raipur one. I think the best part about it was that we managed to convince the family to have the compost bin at the wedding. And because of this, what happened was, of course, the wet waste from the wedding was coming at the composting unit. It almost became like an awareness thing that we were doing along with it, and the guests were more than happy. They were so eager. They were coming and asking us questions. Ye compost mein jata hai kya? What happens with the pulhars? What happens with the coconut shell? And we could actually explain. In fact, the bride, she was wearing floral jewelry, and she actually got the jewelry, when the haldi thing was over, she actually put the floral jewelry into the pit on her own. and that was very satisfying for her and for us.
Green Miner has also prevented over 3,000 kg of carbon emissions from being released in the atmosphere and planted 304 trees while hosting the wedding ceremonies. What a great way to make a wedding sustainable. Send this to someone you know who would love to.
Sorry, just if someone could mute themselves, there is some disturbance in the background. If everyone can just mute themselves. Yes. So I hope everybody could see the video and could hear it in its entirety. And yeah, so that's our story, as you can see. And yeah, so you want to take this?
Yeah. So is everyone able to see the presentation?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great. So I think, we started, Green Miner, this is our story, and, you've just seen the video, and just to give context on why we started it, how, you already seen a bit of video, but why we need sustainable events. And I think, Sangeeta ji started off this session today with giving actual numbers of, what is the impact our events and weddings do have on the environment. And I think it's time we, all of us, hum log address kare, say we, come together, because when we started off, hamari khud ki shaadi thi, we realized it is not a very difficult task. हम वही कर रहे थे जो 50-100 साल पहले हमारे ancestors करते थे, हमारे parents करते थे. How the weddings were held, there was only sustainability, there was no plastic, there was no plastic water bottles then. People drank water directly from whatever is available. They ensured that food wastage na ho. India was an emerging country, tabhi independence just mila tha. Food was not so easily available. So the whole idea was, let's not waste food, let's donate it to the poor. तो वो सब qualities जो हमने imbibe किए थे हमारे ancestors से, parents से, I think we need to revisit it and understand कि हम अभी कैसे उसे वापस हमारे lives में ले आए. And that's how I think with events and weddings, this is why we need to start off right now. हम लोग जब we started our journey with beach cleanups, and we saw a lot of waste on the beaches, and and lot of event waste like artificial flowers, event decor, and all of that. And we thought that जब हमारी शादी हुई, we know what is sustainable, what isn't, simply with just picking up trash on the beach. We did not have to go to an expert. And there we realized कि अगर हमने beach पे ये कचरा उठाया है, is definitely not sustainable, and we do not want it for a wedding. That was as simple as that. After that, our journey, because we got so much interested in knowing our waste and understanding what to do with it, we said let's deep dive. Okay, we have seen the kind of waste that is created at weddings and on the beaches, what we see. But let's go to a landfill, because a lot of the areas we go to, wahan pe, there is no water body or an ocean. So what is the landfill waste that is collected? So this is, just show you a little bit of.
But before we go into it, anybody from our, जो भी आज हमें सुन रहे हैं, कोई कभी landfill पे गया है? I know it's not a tourist spot, not really somebody, you don't really go to a landfill, but
yes,
देखा है कभी?
राहुल गुप्ता, मैं गया हूँ.
आप गए हो? ओके. एंड कैसा, मतलब क्या देख के क्या लगता है, कैसा लग रहा है कि अब क्या हो क्या रहा है उधर?
वो तो पूरी बीमारी का घर है. बेसिकली मैं स्क्रैप का बिजनेस करता हूँ, तो मुझे पूरा इंटरेस्ट है इसमें. वो वहां पे आपको MLP मिलेगा जो नहीं दिख पाता. मेन मुद्दा वही है, अगर वो हो जाए ना तो सब क्लियर हो जाएगा. तो लोग समझ नहीं पा रहे.
There are solutions that will help us. That have just come back, picking about 600 kilos also this morning from a cleanup. There are solutions, we just get to it, but this is what a landfill looks like. This is a town close to Nagpur, 2 hours away from Nagpur.
Sorry, I think there is an issue with your audio quality, Ashwin. Can you just check, Ashwin and Anup?
I don't know, we were speaking about network shows full. Is it better now? Can you hear us?
No, there's some background noise. I think maybe that's got to do with connectivity.
Okay, just give us a minute. Maybe we'll switch off the fan and maybe that's better. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
If we switch off the video, is it better? Because I think bandwidth padega.
You
Yeah,
mean
you can switch off your video, yeah, because anyways we're seeing the screen. So
Is it better now? Message from the panel.
no, no.
no.
Not better.
You might want to log out and rejoin, I guess, because it was all okay. It just suddenly happened now.
Okay. This one.
Are we audible now, Sangeeta?
Yeah, much better.
Much better. Okay.
Yeah, okay, great. You can share our screen as well. And we're keeping the video off. So just
Oh, okay. Someone needs to
make us the co-host.
co-host again.
Sandeep, Kavita, are you around?
Okay, meanwhile, while Ashwin's figuring it out, I'll keep talking so that, we don't delay and we don't waste time for everyone. तो जैसे अश्विन बता रहे थे, हम लोग बीच क्लीन अप करते हैं, तो जर्नी हमारी यही थी कि हम बीच क्लीन अप किए, we met each other on while cleaning garbage and we started Green Mina from there. तो हम ये बता रहे थे कि अगर आप लैंडफिल पे जाओगे तो you will find a lot of waste and that is one point. But second point is that बहुत जन को लगता है कि ये Google से images है and maybe ऐसा नहीं है. So we have actually picked up images and we would like to show it when we can share screen. जहाँ पे हम लोग रोज हर सैटरडे को बीच क्लीन अप जब करने जाते हैं काटो क्लीन अप पे, दैट बैंड्रा में एक एरिया है, वहाँ पे we actually find a lot of these artificial flowers. We find event के जो waste निकलते हैं, like a lot of your frames and in fact like just simple things, flexes, simple things like जैसे flower garland है और उसके बीच में एक plastic का ball, like just to make it look prettier. Or even in case of certain times we find these plastic glasses and plastic cutleries, and because I think it's very easy कि एक event एक शाम को use कर रहे हैं, उसको बाद में क्या फायदा, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. But the point being that कि इवेंट जब देखने जाते हैं, कोई भी हम लोग शादियों में जाते हैं, देखने में बहुत सुंदर लगता है, but next day it's actually just the reverse of what it is. So I think we have started sharing our screen. आप लोग सब देख पा रहे हो, right, हमारी screen?
हाँ जी, yes.
Yeah, perfect. So like we were talking about images, we'll quickly come to Kata Cleanup का this image. Can you see this? Right? यहाँ पे अगर आप देखोगे तो काफी आर्टिफिशियल वेस्ट आपको दिखेगा. यहाँ पे ये वाला जो इमेज है ये हमारे लिए बहुत पावरफुल है, क्योंकि हम लोग जब भी वेस्ट पिकअप करते हैं तो मेन चीज जो होती है ये यहाँ पे आपको देखने को मिलेगी कि काफी प्लास्टिक बॉल्स, काफी प्लास्टिक के आर्टिफिशियल फ्लावर्स हमें मिलते हैं. और ये हमारा एवरी सैटरडे व्हेन वी गो टू दिस बीच एंड वी सी दिस, ये जो रीइंफोर्समेंट होता है ना कि इसको साफ ग्रीन माइना का पर्पस क्या है, बीच क्लीन अप करके क्या फायदा, ये एक्चुअली हर सैटरडे हमारे लिए रीइंफोर्स हो जाता है, बिकॉज इट्स सो इम्पोर्टेंट टू रियली डू इट. नाउ आई थिंक बाय दिस स्टेज वी हैव ऑलरेडी एस्टैब्लिश्ड कि करना जरूरी है. लाइक आई होप सबको ही हमें जो सुन रहे हैं ये अग्री करते हैं कि it's not just about everyday consciousness, but also about the special days and special events that is very important to kind of make it eco-friendly. Correct. Now that we have dealt with कि करना जरूरी है, कैसे करें, and I think this is one big question and this is why we've been really wanting to show our expertise here कि कैसे करना है ये eco-friendly event. एक्चुअली अगर देखा जाए ना, एंड अश्विन जैसे स्टार्टिंग में बता रहे थे, काफी सिंपल है.
You might, sorry, Nupur, you might want to keep it on a slideshow mode.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Thank
तो
you.
अगर आप देखोगे तो इट्स एक्चुअली क्वाइट सिंपल, एंड लाइक अश्विन सिंह, यू नो, जब भी हम कभी फंस जाते हैं कि इसका क्या ऑल्टरनेटिव होगा, हाउ डू वी रियली चेंज दिस, वी ऑल्सो जस्ट गो बैक एंड थिंक कि पहले के जमाने में क्या करते होंगे, यू नो, लाइक पहले कैसे होता था. अगर आप अपने पेरेंट्स की वेडिंग एल्बम खोलोगे तो उसमें प्लास्टिक नहीं दिखेगा. सो आर अप्रोच मेनली इज एक्चुअली लुकिंग एट 3 मेन पिलर्स, विच इज डेकोरेशन, केटरिंग एंड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. And अगर आप देखोगे तो literally if you take care of these 3 pillars, you take care of 80% of the waste that would have otherwise gone into landfill. Apart from that, like Samita ji mentioned in the beginning, there are wedding souvenirs, there is, you know, in-room hampers, there is like, you know, bride ka dress and all of that. Or even in terms of events, it is like, you know, what kind of return gifts you are giving, medals, वो सब बाद में आता है. पहले अगर आप ये 3 पिलर्स को देख लो तो फिर बहुत इजी हो जाता है एक इवेंट को इको फ्रेंडली बनाना. एंड राहुल जी, अगर आप यू नो स्क्रैप में काम करते हैं तो आप देखोगे, एंड वी विल एक्सप्लेन द काइंड ऑफ वेस्ट दैट डेकोर से जो निकलता है या केटरिंग से जो निकलता है या वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में फाइनली जाता है. दैट वुड बी अ लॉट ऑफ योर MLPs, आर्टिफिशियल फ्लावर्स, प्लास्टिक ग्लासेस, in fact, you know, a lot of myths that, you know, paper cups, but all of those are actually plastic coated, plastic lined, and not many people actually realize that. So हम
बेसिकली
yes, Rahul ji.
मैम, जो लैंडफिल्स में रह जाता है ना, यहाँ तो उसकी वैल्यू नहीं होती है. यहाँ वैल्यू इतनी होती है, जो वो उठा के अगर कोई उठाए उतना उसको खर्चा पड़ जाता है. तो प्रॉब्लम ये आ रही है कि इसलिए वो कहते हैं कि घर से ही सेग्रीगेट किया जाए या रेस्टोरेंट से ही सेग्रीगेट किया जाए, ये सबके लिए आसान हो जाता है.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. I think Rahul ji, I think we'll come to you and during the Q&A and we'll discuss this. But I think these are small things, decor, for example, just, you know, if we go to decor now.
Before we go into decor, I think we would really try to, you know, kind of understand and okay, अगर मैं आप लोग से ये question पूछूं, this is a question which is open for everyone to answer.
In the chat box,
yeah, which is basically which option will you choose? अगर आपको decoration करना हो तो natural flowers use करोगे कि plastic flowers use करोगे?
You can just put your messages in the chat
and
box.
So yes, and Shanu and Mehnaz, they are part of this. They can, you know, probably we cannot see the chats, but please answer. सबके लिए ये quiz है, कहाँ पे क्या क्या आप लोग use करोगे इस पे? Okay, I can see one answer, which is natural always. Rimple. Anyone else, please feel free to participate. There is no right or wrong answers. We'll decode it for you.
Right.
Okay, so everybody feels that natural flowers are better because then it can go into composting.
Right.
In a way, yes. But this is your decoding of it, you know, like which is your, okay, Sagar has said plastic, and I think we'll
reach out.
We'll reach and we'll answer for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's reusable. Well said, Sagar. But again, the answer to it is actually, we say in a way a mix of it is ideal, and we'll tell you why. So natural flowers, yes, very simple, compostable hai, biodegradable hai. You know, the con is that it cannot be reused. एक बार use किया, एक बार गया.
Right.
But also natural flowers, अगर आप locally source करते हो, then it is actually a good thing. Reusable plastic flowers, अगर आप देखोगे, it is, a lot of decorators say it is more eco-friendly because you can reuse it. हमने ये एक एक्सरसाइज किया था when we started Green Myna, कि हमने बहुत सारे डेकोरेटर से पूछा कि अगर आप एक फ्लावर खरीदते हो तो आप कितने इवेंट्स में उसको यूज करते हो, and guess what, average answer was maximum 4 to 5 events. In fact, आप लोग के पास भी कोई डेकोरेटर है या कुछ भी, आप उनसे भी पूछिए, generally you 4 to 5 decorators 4 to 5 events के लिए ही यूज करते हैं.
So that's typically about one season, say from the wedding season November to February is what they have used it. They have trashed it, and next season they are buying new artificial flowers.
Yes.
So
yes.
So I think, you know, now the delirium is that natural flowers, reusable flowers, you know, what do we use? So we would, I think at Green Myna, highly recommend use natural flowers wherever possible. You know, so that, and ensure these natural flowers are segregated at source, कि ये flowers जो है अलग से एक compost pit में जाए, या now there is technology available where these flowers are getting rolled into incense sticks, into color, you know, reuse it as much as possible. Find out the source where koi ye flowers leke, if someone can, you know, make something out of it. That will be the best way to, you know, naturally flowers can be sent, because composting also has lot of methane generation. Any composting activity has methane generation. Methane is a very potent greenhouse gas. इसके वजह से today climate change is taking place. That is why composting not the ideal solution, but second best. Ideally, if they can be repurposed, these flowers is the best solution to it.
Yes. And also another thing, while I think I can hear one comment on the Jainism perspective, so we understand about, ki kharab, like it's not right. But at the same time, we always encourage that, use local flowers, try and like, because then uski life zyada rehti hai. Also, it is more sustainable from that angle. At the same time, while Ashwin was saying as much as possible, we understand that it can be expensive. And we also understand that natural flowers ko fresh rakhne ke liye use something called oasis. Now, oasis is like that green color का एक sponge जैसा होता है जो हर एक बुके में आता है या फिर हर एक flower decor में use होता है. Now that is actually not even recyclable. That is not reusable. That is nothing. Like it's basically you have to throw it. So even for that, we like because since you need to keep the flowers fresh, you use oasis. So we kind of कहाँ पे भी like अगर flower arrangement है या फिर बहुत बड़ा arrangements होता है where it is not possible, we do allow the decorator to go ahead with some of the plastic flowers because we don't want that oasis coming in. We have found alternatives for oasis as well. But at the same time, wherever there is hanging flowers जहाँ पे oasis नहीं लगता है and all, please go with natural flowers. And wherever possible, where you don't need to like, oasis is must or you need to kind of do this, use plastic flowers, but please ensure as much as possible if you can reuse it. So in a way, the answer is actually mix of it. More of natural flowers, 80-90%, please use natural flowers. But yeah, plastic flowers has its own thing. Now, this is one element of decoration which we wanted to introduce. And this is one of the big myths that we often hear. And also somewhere now the demand and supply cycle has to stop. Jab tak demand for artificial flowers will not stop, artificial green mats, chat carpets, till then we will keep picking it up on the beach. And that's what happens in reality.
Right. I think all job jahan pe agar aapki families mein, if you all are getting married, if you're looking at decor, see what is happening. Speak to a decorator, ask him very clear questions. Okay, we are going to use so and so things in this decor. What happens to it after that? Moment to ask that question, the decorator who have contracted will also start thinking कि हम सही कर रहे हैं क्या. And if there is an element of doubt कि आपको लगता है कि no, ये अभी trash होगा, उसका, it will go to landfill, start looking on options. What is the alternative to it? I think when we start looking at alternatives, so the current options, only then we can really say our events are sustainable and we can have a sustainable planet in the future.
Yeah.
And that is very important to start thinking alternatives.
And another element of decoration that we often hear while weddings mein flowers hote hain, a lot of it is also balloons. And I think we have been really trying to drive a movement and say that balloons are the worst thing that you can do to your planet and do to your, environment overall. And I mean, personally, I think maybe because we are so driven, we feel that it doesn't even look nice, but that's our personal view. But I really feel, and we all agree somewhere, ki balloons mat use karo na. Like using mat, there's no alternative to balloons. Don't use it. Like that's the answer we give. Don't use it. Use, kapde ka decor or use fairy lights or, like think about leaf decor or something which is more natural.
Exactly. More natural. Balloons are one of the primary reasons for birds, pose when balloons jab discard hote hain. A lot of balloons people release on birthdays, New Year's, parties. They get stuck, intertwined. Once they deflate, it looks like literally bird food. A lot of birds ingest these balloons. Balloons is nothing made, but it's made from vinyl. It's PVC. And we have seen several deaths of birds who are migratory birds, especially in this from this period from November to February season, winter jo hota hai, lot of migratory birds are dying because of ingesting balloons. So I think very important to understand, agar aap logo ke in our viewers, anybody has bacche hai, please, if you can start inculcating that balloons are bad for our planet and see what alternatives can be used for balloons. I know they look nice. They are, kids love it. But I think we start inculcating values that balloons are bad for the planet and usse birds and animals die. If that can be taught to our kids today, I think they definitely understand why they should not, use them in the future.
And we can go ahead and we can keep decoding each and every element of decor, but there's so much to talk about. There's so much to say when it comes to kya use ho raha hai, kya use nahi kar sakte. Like a lot of events have these confetti, like again, what is the point of it? Like especially wo plastic wale confettis. They have those fireworks, what is it called? Pyro something.
Pyrotechs.
Pyrotechs, yeah. That is also so bad. Like, if you decode any and every of this now, you will realize, you can use so many of your old elements, which can be actually repurposed. We can actually reuse them and, go ahead with it. And I think decorators are becoming very creative as well. One more thing that we would add before we move to the next pillar, because we are conscious of the time, is कि अगर आप decorators को साथ बैठ के उनको थोड़ा push करोगे, push मतलब like not really forced है, but थोड़ा सोचोगे उनके साथ कि ये हमें backdrop चाहिए. Can we do it with tires? Can we do it with bottles? Can we do it with any of the other things? They actually want to do it. It's not that we don't face so much trouble or issue with the vendors, because एक भाषा होनी चाहिए उनको समझाने के लिए भी. You don't go and say that मुझे नहीं चाहिए, environment के लिए अच्छा नहीं है, वो नहीं काम करेगा. ये आप यूज करते हो, कहाँ से लाते हो, अगर हम लोग ये देंगे, ये सोचेंगे इसके बारे में, तो ये हो सकता है क्या? That kind of tonality. And I think that's what really works for us.
Yes, I think what we learned is the language of love.
Yeah.
And when you want to use the language of love, I think everything works. And I think that's what also Jainism speaks about is speak the language of love, speak with softness. And I think if that is conveyed, I think anything is possible to do.
Yes. Moving to the next one. Next question for you, all of you. Which option will you choose? Disposables or reusable cutlery? Now, this seems at the surface of it a simpler answer, but if all of you can put it on the chat, it would be amazing. Reusable, good. Okay, so before taking much time on it, moving to the answer for it, this quiz. Yes, disposables generate a lot of trash, and also generates a lot of cash. Because it's inexpensive. And the other thing is reusable ones are of course better. One thing that we struggled with trying to explain people, catering mein reusable use karne ka was of course the hygiene factor. A lot more came up during your COVID times. And I think that's also one of the questions that Rimple has asked. It's a very fair question. One thing that we realized is that, again, it's in the mind that, your steel glasses or this thing is not hygienic.
Right.
In fact, like we try and tell people that your mineral water that you use has got more microplastics, not good for your health. So hygiene ka jo perspective aata hai, one is jhuta, non-jhuta, which is, or also it is a perspective of, health pe kya impact padta hai. So health wala hum log deal kar pate hain. But when it comes to jhuta, non-jhuta, all we can tell you is that caterers hai, wo saaf karenge. We have actually, when Green Mana does events, we get supervisors to actually look at whether it is being done in a way that it should be done. Right. Rental is something that is big nowadays. We do something called water dispensers, and we get
water stations.
Water stations, because wo chote wale plastic bottles jo aate hai na, like that's the worst thing.
And I think if you visit the venue of a wedding the next day, I think then you will realize the true impact of the environment impact. And that is the sore point. I think it will all look very pretty in the day of the event, but as event managers and sustainable consultants, we visit the event next morning. And it is really an eyesore, really an eyesore. And you can just imagine what we are doing to our planet just for one day of celebrations. So if we can absolutely cut out these plastic bottles, put glass bottle options. Today, there are a lot of companies out there who are giving glass bottles, sealed glass bottles with, good drinking water in it. If we can, spare our efforts in little bit of extra budget allowance and start procuring glass bottles, if hygiene is a concern, we would definitely recommend that and not use plastic. Plastic, I think, Rahulji will also know, since in the scrap industry, plastic is never recycled. It's always downcycled. So every time you recycle plastic, its quality degrades, keeps degrading. And there will be a point for the bottle, for example, the third or fourth time once you have recycled it, downcycled it rather, it cannot be used anymore. That eventually goes to a landfill. So I think if we stop the production of plastic bottles, stop using it, definitely make a difference, in the overall waste management picture of a country. And I think definitely we can all do that. We have done events of 6,000, 7,000 people on Warsaw Beach without using a single plastic bottle. And I think it's a mindset change that plastic water bottle is cleaner than regular water. I think once we change that mindset, definitely, I think things will be much better for all of us. And I think make a habit, all of us, whoever are traveling to work, traveling out of the city for a holiday, let's carry our own bottled water.
Yes. And while, plastic bottle is one of the element of catering, there are a lot of other things as well that comes. And in fact, during our event, if we don't get support from our caterer, we cannot do the waste management. So उनको बताना पड़ेगा कि आप खाने का kitchen peels जो होता है, like, in fact, your मटर का छिलका या फिर जो भी है, हम लोग generally what we do is we actually partner with some gaushalas or something nearby, and we gave all the food materials जो kitchen से निकलता है to them. Now again, food maybe there is your concept of झूठा waste and extra food. तो झूठा खाना जो थाली पे extra रहता है, उसको we cannot distribute it because it's not right that कि जो खाने का झूठा, थाली वाला झूठा हम लोग कहीं बांटे. What we generally do is that we put that into composting, but it has to be washed. Because again, Indian खाना जो होता है generally मसाले और oil जो होते हैं वो natural preservatives होते हैं. So it's very difficult to compost it unless you actually wash it off. Now these are small things, but it makes so much of a difference. और जो extra खाना होता है, हम लोग पहले caterer से बात करते हैं कि आप अपना buffer कम करो, because mentality है कि खाना कम नहीं पड़ना चाहिए, which is true. कभी भी खाना जब मेहमानों को दे रहे हैं तो हम लोग को कभी खाना कम नहीं करना चाहिए. But at the same time, we tell them आप 20% buffer मत रखो, 10% रखो, क्योंकि we understand and we generally try and take that extra food and distribute it. See, हमारा purpose ये नहीं है कि कोई बाहर का खाए, अगर होटल स्टाफ भी खा रहे हैं, ये सब भी कहीं कंज्यूम हो रहा है तो we are okay.
Right, exactly.
And ये conversation आपको अपने caterer के साथ करनी चाहिए.
That how much is the buffer? If you're doing destination weddings, if there are 150 people who have traveled to that destination, there are 150 people. You do not need to keep a buffer of 250 people because और कोई बाहर से लोग नहीं आने वाले for that wedding. So I think that thought process that happens will really help ensure there is less food wastage. Again, as I come back to the point, the moment even you trash food, every time you trash food, decomposition is causing methane emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, which are ultimately causing climate change or where we are right now. So I think that rotting of excess food needs to stop at source.
And somewhere ना ये mindset का ही फिर से घूम फिर के बात आ जाता है. Now the thing is, we believe that your wedding or your event, जो भी आप कर रहे हो, it is not an awareness drive, right? It should be how it is. Like ऐसा नहीं है कि शादी में आके ज्ञान दे रहे हैं, बांट रहे हैं कि ये मत करो, वो भी नहीं होना चाहिए, because एक शादी है. At the end of the day, it's a शादी. People have come to enjoy. So one thing we do is we try to pass the message subtly. I think Sagar has this question: how do you ensure that guests don't waste food? So we just pass the message subtly. We try and put some boards around कि आप जितना खाना ले रहे हो उतना ही खाओ. We push the guests to do not just buffet, but a sit down
dinner. Sit down, I think we have had a lot of.
We did recently
in Kochi, and it was a sit down sadhya style of lunch, and I can assure you minimal wastage जब sit down होता है. Buffet में, I think a lot of guests are lazy. I think they go around the counter, fill up the plate once and for all, and sit down, and then waste food if they're not to be eaten. So I think if a sit down kind of an arrangement has been done at the wedding, it will really help in reducing the wastage.
And also somewhere, you know, we visit a lot of places जहाँ पे eco-friendly cafes होते हैं, जो भी होते हैं. Even the person who's serving, caterer को भी we mindfully तुम पूरा भर के मत दो guest को भी. You know, because a lot of guests, because a lot of items, सबको taste करने को होता है. So you, even the caterer, you do a briefing where you say that please fill the plate. Never leave the plate की fill नहीं किया, but quantity तुम उतनी सोच के दो. So it's all about having these little conversations. It's about passing the message subtly, even telling the guest पहले से event के, you know, this is an eco-friendly event and your support is wanted. Now, इसमें इतना नहीं बोलना कि आप ये मत करो, ये मत लाओ, but there are messages around. Water जहाँ पे है, we put small messages, small placards saying that, you know, please close the tap. Please only fill as much as water as you will drink. Please take only as much food on your plate that you will eat, you know, because there are so many people going hungry. So we just try to pass those messages, but in a very subtle way, not on the face, not go and tell ki khana waste mat kariye, wo mat kariye. So that's how we really work around this. Going to the next, again, we have so many things to talk about each element. I'm just very conscious of the time and moving to the next. Again, this is also a very simple question. Which sustainable option will you choose? Sustainable shipping, sustainable solution, or your local produce? Again, we would appreciate if some answers come on chat, because हमें पता भी चलेगा आप हमारी बात सुन रहे हो.
Right.
You know, when you write your answers. Yes, local purchase.
I think we live in a generation of Amazon and shipping, so I think, but yes, we'll wait for a couple of more
responses to come. But yes, जल्दी अगर आप लोग सुन रहे हैं हमारी बात, तो क्या लगता है, shipping sustainable solutions or local? Because यहाँ पे बहुत जन बोलते हैं कि हमें sustainable solution चाहिए, हमारी जगह पे नहीं मिल रहा है, तो क्या should we order? Should we get it? Should we? Because again, there is a carbon footprint element to it, right? कि अगर आप कहीं से और से भी मंगवा रहे हो तो क्या कर रहे हो? And in fact, this is one big thing that we try to fight. A lot of people have said local. Now, this is an important part. Carbon footprint of shipping and time consuming. Yes, there is less carbon footprint and less time consuming. Now, again, when we do events, which is a little like, you know, of not in the city kind of a place, where the events are a little like, you know, छोटे tier 2 या tier 3 town में, lot of sustainable alternatives available ही नहीं होते हैं. So there we have to, you know, try and think of ways like, you know, many times we say that ठीक है आप एक काम करो, न्यूज़पेपर में पैक करो, और वो ट्रेडिशनल मूली होती है, राइट, हम लोग जो हाथ में बांधते हैं, लाल धागा या फिर कुछ भी, उससे बांध लो ताकि, यू नो, थोड़ा वो ट्रेडिशनल फील आए. या फिर स्टील के कटलरी सब जगह मिलते हैं, तो we, you know, we try and not just give them options of bagasse or wheat grass and stuff, because we know that is not available everywhere. So even where the event is happening, उसके हिसाब से हमें अपना solutions customize करना चाहिए. And I think this is where we will also bring in the part of waste management of a wedding, where it is about recycling the dry waste as well as composting the wet waste, and that both are very important.
I think that is definitely, you know, we cannot start. I think that is definitely something which cannot. When waste management, without waste management, you cannot have a sustainable event. And I think everybody who's in the waste management you know, industry or has been working will know that if you mix your waste, if you do not mix your waste, wet and dry waste, there is no person on this planet who can recycle it. I think that should be very clear. I think everyone who is listening to us, I think please go back into the kitchens and see if you all have 2 waste bins there, because without that, people are talking about climate crisis, climate change. I will tell you in as many words that India is sitting on a waste management crisis, and a huge waste management crisis. And unless each of 1.3 billion of us take the onus that we are going to segregate our waste and we are going to do something about it, we are heading for absolute catastrophe. And I will unfortunately, I will not mince any more words on this, because bahut situation bahut zyada grim hai. And I think if at events and weddings, we ensure that we have some kind of waste management place, wet and dry waste segregation ho raha hai, ensuring that the dry waste goes for recycling. It will be a huge, I think, gift we can give back to our planet. more than any other anything that the couple or the family is going to do.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of our efforts in event actually go in, trying to segregate the waste at source, because that again makes a lot of difference. And many events, many people, like how we work is that hum log pura bolte hain, and we keep everybody, we give everybody gyan, or tell them that this is the solution, this is the alternative, this is how much it will cost, this is what it is. But many times they are like, ye possible nahi, hum log ye kar lenge. So we don't push, because at least socha, at least kiya. And whatever is a dry waste, then our attempt is that let's try and do the proper recycling and waste management of it.
Right.
And hum log Green Miner mein we do something called carbon audit as well. Now that's a separate subject and separate topic and requires another session on it only. But that actually tells
it basically tells you what is the measurable impact of
Yes.
your efforts, because everyone will ask us at this forum is what is the impact, what change have I done. So that's what a carbon audit does, is basically there is softwares involved where we take all the data before the wedding, during the wedding, and after the wedding, put it in a software and let you know what is the emissions of your wedding, what is the carbon footprint of a wedding, and what you need to do to make it carbon neutral. Be it planting trees, investing in renewable energy, trying your bit in doing something. If you have a solar plant at home, that will also offset some kind of emissions. But a measurable impact of all the efforts that we take at a wedding to make it sustainable. Exactly, हमने कुछ effort किया है, has it transformed into saving the emissions for the planet? I think that really helps. So that is one of the fourth verticals of Green Miner that we do is about carbon footprint. Yes, I can definitely, Sagar, tell you that approximately a regular Indian wedding, just recently we got statistics, 4,000 kilos of waste were generated in a 3-day Indian wedding.
That also when we did a lot
Just
of solutions.
After, yes, 4,000 kilos was just waste generated at a wedding. After that, the carbon footprint is close to about 1 to 2 tons. That's about 2,000 kilos, 2,500 kilos is something, is the footprint of a wedding. So you can imagine, and this was a local wedding. If you can take that destination wedding, people taking flights, going back and forth from the cities to the small towns, can imagine the ecological impact on that region and a planet as a whole. So
the numbers and statistics
are
staggering.
staggering.
Yeah, staggering, scary, and I don't think like it becomes very overwhelming. But what we are trying to drive is a basic idea that even if it is a small change, even if it is about talking to a decorator, even if it is about talking to your caterer, even if it is like थोड़ा एक बार देख लेते हैं कि ये waste का क्या life cycle है, even if it is about reaching out to management, event sustainable planners or events consultants like us, that itself is going to be a big step in the way eco-friendly weddings or eco-friendly events are generally done. And trust me, every event needs this element, because every event, not just wedding, every event has these little things that we are talking about. In fact, just moving on, we have our we did recently a wedding that we have put from some of the sustainable weddings. We'll just play this video and I hope you can see it, hear it. Can you see this?
Yeah. So this is kind of the floral waste that was created.
We'll keep
and this is all sustainable decor, 100%, no foam used.
Like all banana leaves and this, like
it is pretty. It's also very nice looking, you know.
Yes. And yeah, so this were all like, some of the things that we had suggested for the decor, and all these decoration element actually went into your composting. And this is how it really, can help and change. Because it made a lot of difference. In this, if you see, यहाँ पे ये glass bottles के बारे में जो बता रहे थे, these are the glass bottles that the client invested in.
He said he was very clear that I will not have a single plastic bottle at this wedding. And he was very clear, the groom, and that is how he made sure the hotel where the wedding was, they signed a contract with a company that will give only glass bottles during 3 days. So I think agar the bride, the groom, the families take a stand कि नहीं हमें हमारा event sustainable करना है, eco-friendly करना है, then definitely it will happen.
Like even for like, gift wraps, we try and give these paper bags, like, don't have to wrap the gifts and put like these nice, thoughtful thank you cards. Again, everything made with paper. This was tied with jute strings. This you see at our event, we have done we distributed food, and we need to tell you the statistics of this, because just with the excess food, not even jhuta khana, the जो
Excess
खाना बचा था, वो खाना हम लोग ने 3 दिन में I think
1200 लोग, 1200 people per day we fed this food. So you can imagine if we were not there on site, what would have happened to this food?
1200 खाना
People, so collectively almost 3,000 to 4,000 people we gave food in the 3 days of the wedding. This is just the excess food.
And like when we were giving food to people, there were people who were coming and asking paneer kya hota hai? Like, even that kind of people were getting this food, and it is just about making that choice ki nahi, I don't want my food to get wasted. I think the caterer, despite a lot of convincing, was still very scared of like, making less food.
Right.
But it's important, so important ki, you have these backup arrangements done just in case. This is another event that we, went to. This was not a wedding, because we do all kind of events. यहाँ पे भी अगर आप देखोगे, what we did was we tried to do like trying to give the
Marathon,
segregation. It was a
Right.
marathon.
It was a marathon with 18,000 people, runners, and 18,000 people. It was largely a single-use plastic-free event. So instead of using plastic bottles, जो regular marathon में होते हैं, they use these PLA-coated cups, which are better recycled than regular paper cups. So they use these paper cups. So I think agar, at a 18,000 plus event mein, they can go single-use plastic-free, have no plastic bottles. I think all of us, who do weddings and events on a much smaller scale can take that stand and at least start.
Yeah.
I think शुरुआत हमें सभी को करनी चाहिए from somewhere.
And even I think what is important is that, like the flexes, kabhi alternative option nikal aaya hai. It's not necessary. Like, in fact, we have found Flexka options which are, eco-friendly alternatives that are there. We also do a lot of, events. We organize these beach cleanup movements, which is apart from our Kato cleanup, because, it's so important कि आप जाके जब आप अपने हाथ से कचरा उठाते हो ना, तब पता चलता है कि वो क्या है और कैसे change करना चाहिए. We are running short on time, so we'll quickly just
definitely do that. I mean,
open the platform for question and answers now. And yeah, we can stop sharing. I think we can, yeah. So this is our Twitter page. This is our Facebook page. This is our Instagram. It's all green Mina. It's very simple to follow. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Like we said, we are more than happy to share our thoughts, our perspective. If you need our assistance, our sustainability consultancy for any of the things, please feel free to reach out, because I think, like Vandana put it very nicely, it's be the change you want to see in the world, because unless you do it yourself, nobody else will. Like, people come and say कि beach cleanup करके क्या फायदा, वो next दिन तो फिर गंदा होता है, पर at least मैं कर रही हूँ, मैं घर से बाहर निकल के कुछ change करने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ, और मैं कर रही हूँ इसीलिए आपको करने का जरूरत नहीं पड़ रहा है. That kind of mentality is very important.
Absolutely. I think, in an entire, if the Jain community comes together, all of you all come together and say, I will give 2 hours of my week. A week has 168 hours. Usme se if you can get 2 hours to, just doing some work for the environment, clean up a river bank, a lake, or the ocean front, just come and just do something.
Yeah.
And, just do some work for the environment. I think it will firstly very fulfilling. Plus, it will also help give a impact. That, we have done something left. You've come to this world, seeing destruction and mayhem around you, and probably you left it when you leave this planet, you left it in a better place. I think that fulfillment should happen.
Yeah, and also it's like, just make a pledge. All events should be eco-friendly, at least for whatever Jain community is organizing. I see one question from Rimple about sustainability in COVID. Trust me, this was a big struggle for us as well.
Right.
We tried to tell them that, one of the solutions we offered was that in old clubs of Bombay, Calcutta, where the club culture jo hota hai, they have these plastic sealed glass, paper sealed glasses. They put these paper envelopes and uske andar glasses rakhte hain and they seal it. So we were trying to say or think if we can do that kind of, because it's a hygiene concern.
Hygiene concern, but I think it is clinically proven by the WHO कि COVID छूने से नहीं फैलता है. I know that. I think someone has used the glass who has COVID, and if you touch that glass, you're going to have COVID. So I think that is flawed. I think everyone, all of us go to restaurants. All of us, some of us go to restaurants, parties. There are mocktails, other drinks, which are the things which is served in glasses. So why is it that when it comes to water that there is a COVID scare? I think it's all in the mindset. I think COVID will, we might have another pandemic situation, God forbid, if we don't take action now. And if you have not learned the lessons from the 2 years of the pandemic when we all living lockdowns. So I think there's a thought process which is flawed. I don't think putting plastic bottles instead of glass ones is going to solve, protect people from COVID. That's not how it is. I think if that narrative can be set, it really help. And I think when the advent of COVID happened, people are still seeing today a lot of masks, a lot of PPE suits, all of that strewn on the beach, and it was really very hurtful. कि जो हमें protect कर रहा था at one point of time, now we are putting it in the environment and destroying our nature. So it was bit of an conundrum of why we are doing this to our planet. Yesterday, I was at a beach cleanup, and I must bring the notice that I found a national flag, a tricolor, in several pieces stuck in a mangrove, around a mangrove tree. I think Republic Day is coming very soon. All of y'all, please use sustainable fabric when you're purchasing flags. Use, reuse these flags for every Independence Day, Republic Day. I think, the last thing I want to do is see a flag in midst of garbage. And that was really hurting, my consciousness.
So please, any questions you have, any thoughts you have on our session? I know we went over time, but kuch bhi hai, so please reach out. I think Mehnaz has already put our link, DM us, or, otherwise please reach out to Sangeeta, Dimple. They have our numbers. We'll be more than happy to help.
Yeah, thank you, Ashwin and Nupur. I think it was extremely insightful with lots of practical examples. So now I would request anyone who has a question, you can just simply raise your hand and we will unmute you and you can directly ask your question.
So, sorry, Bhavni. Okay, I think Jagat ji has a question. Yes.
Jagat ji, can you unmute yourself and Jagat bhai, you will have to unmute yourself. You are on mute. Are you able to do it? I think you can unmute yourself.
I have put one question. Can I talk now?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah, I am working on saving the sparrows, and one of the ways of increasing the number of sparrows is the sparrow nest, which we distribute free of cost. Now, sensitizing the people over the period of time, many people are approaching us with a design for wedding invites, to have it on the invite, a sparrow nest, to be converted into a sparrow nest subsequently. So that is a reusable invite. It can be done even for the parties. What is your take on that?
I think definitely, any nature-based solution is welcome. We will just have to see what these invites look like and if it's actually practical to send it out. But I think sparrow nest, if something repurposed, will really help. Right now, we are seeing more and more clients coming to us and saying, we do not want to do wedding cards. They do only invites, WhatsApp invites. Only 3-4 cards are printed for the elderly and temple mein rakhne ke liye and all of that. But largely, I think no kind of invites, physical invites are being used.
But in villages and small places, invite is a must.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is saying. I mean, and I think that there is a huge potential for this, for sparrow nest to be repurposed. We can only once we see some kind of a sample, we can advise you how it can be tweaked and what better can be done.
I can share the designs,
Absolutely.
the normal nest as well as the sparrow nest
Sure.
wading in white.
Sure,
Sure,
absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think Hemant ji has a question.
Yeah, Hemant ji, can you please unmute yourself? हेमंत जी, आप अनम्यूट करेंगे खुद को? हेमंत जी, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा खुद को. आप म्यूट पे हैं हेमंत जी. I think he's talking.
Unmute. Yes, it is unmuted.
हाँ,
स्क्रीन नहीं आ रहा था. हाँ, मेरे को दो चीजें बड़ी अच्छी इस सेशन से मिली. Thank you both of you, and God bless you the couple. You started your marriage waste free, and I am working on waste management. तो दो चीज अच्छी मिली. एक तो आपने बताया कि जो कोरोना में हो रहा है कि बहुत सारी चीज हम मास्क लगाते हैं कि भाई वो डिस्पोजेबल लेना चाहिए, इससे बीमारी हो जाती है. So we should strengthen our body so that nothing is to be used from outside, like mask और पानी की डिस्पोजेबल बोतल हम लेना शुरू करें. मैं समझता हूँ जब ये एड्स शुरू हुआ तब से शुरू हुई है और इससे प्लास्टिक बढ़ता चला गया. चाहे हम ग्लास लेते थे डिस्पोजेबल, चाहे प्लेट लेते थे डिस्पोजेबल. ये 80s के दौर में शुरू हुआ और ये ज्यादातर जो है इन्होंने मेडिकल जो सेक्टर है इसने स्टार्ट किया पैनिक करके. सेकंड थिंग आपने एक ये कही कि जो कंपोस्टिंग होती है इट इज द सेकंड बेस्ट. आई एग्री विद यू. और बिकॉज कंपोस्टिंग में भी कुछ पॉइजनस गैसेस और ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस जनरेट होती हैं. आई एग्री विद यू. और देन आई वांट टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन कि जब हम कोई प्लास्टिक को रिसाइकिल करते हैं तो उसमें भी बहुत सारी एनर्जी हमारी लगती है और बहुत सारी पॉइजनस गैसेस भी निकलती हैं. तो इट इज ए क्वेश्चन ऑफ रिसर्च, I think. So that is good.
Yeah, that is good.
You put
it's
some
idea of refusing. I think if you start refusing plastic, small things, stop drinking from a reusable bottle, carrying a bag, cloth bag when you go shopping. I think these small changes were, I think, in the end of the month.
That I agree. I have put in my suggestion box that steel crockery is the best.
Right.
If we use it, wash it cleanly,
Right.
then there is no question of hygiene, and this is more question of psychology, and which is हमारे ऊपर थोप दिया है इन्होंने मेडिकल सेक्टर ने. तो ये सब जगह नहीं है, कुछ केसेस में हो सकता है, लेकिन ज्यादातर तो ये है कि उसको अगर हम ये करें तो हम इसी पे काम कर रहे हैं कि डिस्पोजेबल को आप जितना खर्चा करते हैं उतने में आप उसको वॉशिंग के लिए रखें. और स्टील क्रॉकरी बैंक हर मोहल्ले में, हर वार्ड में कम से कम 2 या 4 बने होने चाहिए. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Hemant ji. I think Bhavini Shah ji has raised her hand. Bhavini ji, आप unmute करें. आप बताएंगे आपका question या thoughts?
Yeah, I'm unmuted, right? You can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Wonderful session. हम लोग भी बीच क्लीन अप और इसमें काम करते हैं तो it's every time, every week when we go, there is always same amount of trash is there. So I feel is it possible to have a volunteers social police kind of thing who can stop क्योंकि हम हर वीक चाहते हैं.
Bhavini ji, we got your question because you put the same question in the chat. I think there's some disturbance, but quickly answering 2 things to it. Firstly, when we go to the beach, ऐसा नहीं है कि same amount of trash मिलता है, वो कम है, because when we started Carter cleanup, there was almost 4 to 5 feet of plastic on the beach, and now we can see sand. So it does make a difference. And to your idea of cleaning police, we have proposed this to BMC already about cleaning marshals. जैसे वो मास्क के लिए पकड़ते हैं, 200 रुपए फाइन डालते हैं, या फिर ड्रिंक एंड ड्राइव वाला जो सीन है वो एग्जीक्यूट होता है. So we have proposed that, but again, it's like being supportive to them. There is a huge manpower shortage. It needs to become a priority for the government. It needs to come from top down rather than going from bottom up from us. So,
I think that happens, and I think when we started Carter Cleanup, we were 4 of us. We were 4, volunteers who started Carter Cleanup in June 2021. We are today at least 100, on any Saturday. And these 100 volunteers of ours have become a vigilantes. They have become a marshals. So जब वो कुछ littering दिखता है, or if someone is littering, they are the people who go and stop them, or they are the ones who register the complaint. So I think that involvement becomes when we empower our own people. And when you pick up trash and you have spent so many hours every month picking it up, you feel hurt when someone else is littering. So I think you automatically stop. So moment I think we do that, encourage schools, colleges, all of them to join for a cleanup, understand the problem on ground, and I think they will go back and then definitely tell whoever is littering to stop it. So I think that is the citizens need to become vigilantes.
Sorry, हाँ मेरा की suggestion है कि the way we are going for beach cleanup, we are gathering for beach cleanup, we should gather for this social policing kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, 1 hour, one group, the 1 hour, this group will just roam on the public place and observe the people and make people to throw at the appropriate place.
Right,
That's what just.
Of course, I think just before coming for this session, we did this. I was at a slum area with about 20,000 odd population. We did a cleanup there in that area, and then for the next 45 minutes, we did an awareness program. Everyone who saw us cleaning up this area observed us. कि क्या कर रहे हैं? So went into their homes, understood their problems, and said, "Okay, now I think we have done our bit. You should also come forward and stop littering." So आप जब भी when we ask, we all of us roll up our sleeves and हम कुछ करके दिखाए, तो भी आगे से कोई कहेगा कि अच्छा, we will also do a bit. But will we get our hands dirty? I said get your hands. That is why in Europe and America, I think people get their hands dirty.
Yeah, मेरा कहने का इतना ही है कि the same work we should not do it again if possible. That's all.
I agree. But it takes time. Change takes time.
अगर इतना easy होता भावनी जी, we wouldn't have to do it every time.
Right.
But it's not easy. Once you go out there and talk, people will come back and say कि क्यों कर रहा है, कि आपको क्या फर्क है, ये वो, and it becomes into a fight. It's only the language of love, patience at work. So we have been doing this for 5 years, and we know certain things that work and certain things that doesn't. But what is important is that you have to be consistent with it. So we also want to not make it like करना है because change nahi ho raha hai. It is making a difference, but it's a slow change, and because it's a habit change, so it's also something that needs to be done accordingly.
True. I think both perseverance and creativity is important. We have now Rahul Gupta. He has raised his hand. Rahul ji, do you want to share something?
If we can quickly wrap up the session, we also have somewhere to go at 12:30. So if we can just
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll just take 1 or 2 more and then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Rahul ji, anything that you want to share?
Yes. मैं ना इंदौर गया था, ये पर्यावरण गतिविधियों की मीटिंग थी. वहाँ 56 में मार्केट है. 56 मार्केट है. वहां पे नैपकिन वो यूज नहीं कर. मैं एक दुकान पे नैपकिन मांगा, नहीं मिला. फिर मैं दूसरी में गया, वहां नैपकिन उन्होंने 0 वेस्ट कर दिया होगा. तो ऐसे सिंगल स्टेप करके सारी चेंजेस आ सकती है.
Yes, totally. We also.
Yes, he is too. It is 56 dukan.
Yeah, we know that market.
I also present in that event.
Yes.
Very nice. It's amazing.
I think everyone, सब लोग कहते हैं, हम लोग कहते हैं कि इंदौर नंबर 1 है कंट्री में. इंदौर ने कर दिखा है. Why can't हमारे पास रेडी मॉडल है within our country?
Right.
Why can't we emulate it? If one city is doing this every year on year, I think we can all do it.
सर हर किसी ने ना सिंगल स्टेप से किया हुआ है, तो हम भी सिंगल स्टेप से करेंगे तो.
Absolutely.
It takes a time. It doesn't take overnight for the Indore. It is working for the last 10 years plus.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It was 2011 when there was a scarcity of water, and they were cleaning their surroundings for keeping the water available to the clean. So it is takes long time, and everybody people are doing everywhere. We hope it will take some time. Will do.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think before Dimple asks her question,
Thank you, people.
so one more thing, Ashwin and Nupur, I guess that's important with events is all the entire travel associated with the event, right? How that can be more sustainable and how one can reduce the carbon footprint associated with it. Do you want to share your thoughts on that?
There are 2-3 simple things. I mean, one is that, we suggest carpool often. We suggest train journeys because we ourselves have started taking train journeys now. Another interesting thing is because airlines also now, before you book the ticket, they show the carbon footprint that, it will generate. And you can actually choose an airline or flight which shows it a little less. And then to offset it, if you can think of, other ways of buying carbon credits, and not just tree plantation, but other options. But I think it's about really carpooling, trying to, take public transport.
Right.
It's actually, honestly,
Right.
it's about going back to our
Correct.
old ways.
Old ways. I think back in the days, हम लोग जब सब लोग शादी में जाते थे, तो they would all, book bogies of trains. I think, where the entire Bharat would travel in a train to the girl side. I think that needs to be brought back,
Yeah.
where that, everyone is traveling in a train to a wedding or an event. I think if that inclusivity happens, it really helps. I think, because flights have become cheap now and everyone wants to take a flight, but I think we should go back to routes. And our trains are excellent. I think our railways are doing an excellent job in, keeping our trains clean.
Yeah, and also simple, like if it's a destination wedding, there's going to be a lot of travel. Please choose a destination which will kind of avoid a lot of travel for not just from money perspective, but also this, and also keep the guest count low, because then that also helps in kind of reducing. So it's just these little small mindful things that you can do. And then also think of offsetting, like how are the ways or what are the ways which you can offset. So maybe if you can keep some funds aside for that.
True, I agree. Dimple,
Yeah, so
share your thoughts.
so Nupur, Ashwin, just one thing, like if you take, if say the same wedding has to be done in a sustainable way, what is the cost impact? What is the cost differential, in a rough manner?
Again, Dimple, it's a very difficult perspective to give because it depends on where the wedding is. If it's a city, it's easier to do it. If it's not in a city, like in a little tier 3, tier 4 type of towns, it's difficult because alternatives are difficult to get. Depends on, again, what are the elements, if it is a day wedding, if it is a night wedding, if it's an open decoration, if it's inside the decoration, if it depends on the guest count. We will not say that sustainable weddings are cheaper. That's definitely not the case. But what we generally try to do is we try to balance it out.
Right. I think it's the same. I think in sustainable weddings, the cost is the same as a regular wedding. That is definitely.
And because we try to balance it out, we tell the bride, don't buy your new lehengas or something. Try and upcycle your mother's lehenga. Or something like, don't do free wedding photo shoot because, if you can use that fund in investing into glass bottles. If you don't print wedding cards, you can go with e-cards. That will save your money. So we just try to, sit with the guest and try to offset where the cost from there can be pulled into this. So there is it might go a little up than a normal wedding. It might be similar to a normal wedding, but it's definitely not lesser than a normal wedding for sure. So that's how it works.
Yeah, and I think the more gratifying part is the post the event. कि आपने क्या environmental impact कैसे reduce किया है. So that is, I think that goes beyond measure of any monetary value. I think if that impact can be shown कि after event the venue was given to me in a certain state and I have given it back to them without being trashed. I think that's, I think that value is really, the before and after your photos, I think we should do that for events as well now.
Yep, excellent. Now I would invite my colleague Vishal Bhai Mehta to propose vote of thanks. It's been an absolutely thought-provoking session. Vishal Bhai.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta ji. Thank you, Ashwin and Nupur, for your excellent talk today. The events, as we know, it shapes the mindset of our society. और सिर्फ event अपने आप में नहीं, but the way it is organized, it sends very clear, I mean, although it is subtle, but very clear message into the society. जो भी best practices वहाँ पर follow की गई है, something which may be innovative, it percolates long after events are over. और जब स्पेशली बात आती है शादियों की, दैट टू इन कम्युनिटीज लाइक गुजरातीज, मारवाड़ीज, पंजाबीज, विच आर नोन फॉर दैट एक्स्ट्रावैगेंजा, वो एक हमारे कल्चर का एक पार्ट है। तो वहां पर जनरली होता ऐसा है कि वी आर सो मच एनग्रॉस्ड इन मेकिंग अरेंजमेंट्स, ग्रेसिंग द इवेंट, कि हम ये जो सस्टेनेबिलिटी का डायमेंशन है वो थोड़ा सा ओवरलुक कर लेते हैं। And that is where, I mean, today we learn that the people like Ashwin and Nupur, they help us in making right choices, without making any compromise in the grace, in the charm of the event. आप आपके डेकोर आइटम्स हो गई, चाहे वो कोई दूसरे अरेंजमेंट्स हो गए शादी या उससे रिलेटेड इवेंट में, कैसे आप उसको मेंटेन कर सकते हो। there is a lot of space for innovations there, as I mean, suddenly, I mean, अभी जगत भाई ने बताया कि उनका bird nest before event it is like a invite, but post event it can turn into a bird's nest. So there is a lot of space for such type of innovations in this area. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा आज आपका ये लेक्चर सुन के, and please do keep sharing about the best practices that you promote, that you implement in your subsequent events. Thank you so much, Ashwin and Nupur.
Thank you so much. We were also very happy to be part of this, and lovely questions. Anything else, please do let us know.
Yes, and I think our phone lines are open. Just if you have a query, or you can drop us a message on Greenmine, and we will happy to consult and happy to help you out, because our idea is right now that whenever we go back next Saturday for a cleanup, we do not see any wedding or event waste at the beach. That is the idea. Only will help our cause, our citizens movement to achieve our goals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashwin and Nupur. Thank you, Vishal Bhai, and thank you everyone for taking out your time and joining us in this discussion. We will be back again next month, first Sunday, same time, with another interesting topic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwin and Nupur. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, Geeta ji.